music, video games, books, television. They are the five families of media. Well, we are the family that talks about it. This is Multimedia Mafia. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday. It is time for another episode of Multimedia Mafia. As always, I am the Don at the desk. I am Anthony. And tonight, we're discussing a very, very fun movie that we just walked out of the movie theaters about 20 minutes ago. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Spoiler alert now, right at the top. I'm not fucking around this podcast. I am talking about this movie heavily. I'm going to talk about the things I liked about it, the things I didn't like about it. And spoiler alert is now in session because I'm going to ruin the fuck out of it. On tonight's podcast, joining me in the booth, I got Izzy. Say what's up, brother.
What's going on, family?
And I got Teresa Beans. What's happening, sis?
Hello.
All right, so before we get into the movie, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of the Ghostbusters. Let me give you my little history with the Ghostbusters. For some reason, as a little kid, we had Ghostbusters 2 on VHS, and I can't explain to you why we had it. All I know is I was like 6 or 7 years old, and our Uncle Bubba was watching me, and Mom and Dad went out watching me and Amanda. And he's like, let's watch this. And he just pulled it out of the closet, and we just watched it, and I fell in love with the Ghostbusters. And mind you, that was Ghostbusters 2. Years later, I was able to get a copy of the original Ghostbusters, fell in love with that movie, and I've been a Ghostbusters head ever since. I love the Ghostbusters. It's like part of my childhood. I used to watch the real Ghostbusters and the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoons. I fucking love the Ghostbusters. And of course, 2016 happened with the rebooted one with Melissa McCarthy. And that wasn't a good movie. And I'm not shitting on it because I didn't like the movie because it was an all-female cast type of thing. I didn't like it because to me, it wasn't a good movie. I don't think it was shot well. I don't think the movie was edited correctly.
So would you say it was no bueno?
It was no bueno. The script to me was shit. I don't like Paul Feig, like the director who also did Bridesmaids and that cast. I'm not a fan of that kind of comedy.
That's how you pronounce his name?
I think so, Feig. I'm not a fan of him. I didn't like Bridesmaids either. So I'm not a fan of Paul Feig. I'm not a fan of Melissa McCarthy.
That's racist. Kristen
Wiig, it's like take or leave. Some things I like her in, some things I'm like, I don't care. So on the whole, I didn't really care for the Ghostbusters rebooted movie.
Okay.
And then we had 2021 hits. They announced this movie, I think, back in 2018 or 2019. And it was just a very quick 30-second thing of it was like it was a close-up of a barn door, and it opens up and a wind comes through and it knocks off a little bit of the tarp that was in the Ecto 1. All you saw was Ecto 1. It said coming soon, Ghostbusters. And I was like, what the fuck? So
Whoa.
I was, and now this movie happens, directed by the son of the original director, Jason Reitman. The original director is Ivan Reitman. And I thought this movie was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it did a lot of justice for Ghostbusters. But I also think there was some fat that could have been cut from this film. Isaiah, I'm going to turn to you, bro. What did you think of this film? And what is your history with the Ghostbusters?
It's so good.
I just went on a 3-minute spiel. And then you say you had 3 words.
It's so good.
Have you seen any of Ghostbusters at all? Ghostbusters film, TV show, anything?
No,
Ghostbuster.
I don't think so. But I knew what the Ghostbusters were but I just never got around to seeing the actual movie. But there was just a gang of ghost-busting, good-looking motherfuckers out there catching ghostesses.
All right, this is really good. So you've never seen any of the Ghostbusters movies, never saw any of the TV shows, nothing.
No.
So Ghostbusters Afterlife popped your Ghostbuster cherry.
Basically, yeah.
What did you think of this movie? Just give me good, bad, or indifferent.
Oh, I liked it. It was really good. I enjoyed it very much, and I think it gave me like plenty of insight on like the first movie.
Does this movie make you want to go back and watch the first and second?
Yeah,
movies?
hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'd like to watch it.
Fucking weird.
So yeah, Teresa shot me a weird look, and I'm excited because it's like that's what movies are supposed to do. Especially we're in this weird age of reboots and soft reboots and quasi sequels. These movies like Jurassic World, The Halloween Kills, or Halloween 2018, whatever it was, Ghostbusters Afterlife. These are all movies that take place in the same universe and they reference what came before it, but it's its own kind of story.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was really dope because it had to do with Egon Spengler, that's his name?
Yes.
Egon Spengler's, I guess, grandchildren and whatnot.
His lineage.
Yeah, basically his family after him. And they kind of had like their own thing going on, and then you had the old gang pop back in at the end of the movie to kind of save the day with Egon's grandchildren, which I think was really dope. And they gave like little innuendos on into that's how it innuendos?
What's in the windows?
No, nigga. They gave like
Innuendos.
There you go, of the first movie and little hints and stuff like that of what might have happened in the first movie.
You know what's really awesome? There was things in this movie I immediately thought of the first movie. I'm like, that's a reference that like fans are gonna get, and they're gonna be things that I'm like, Isaiah's not gonna fucking know even what that. Why is that like that? And I'm like, that's a cool reference. Like I noticed that off the bat. Something like, okay, when you first saw Egon's living room, there was that stack of books that kept going all the way to the ceiling.
Yeah.
What was your thought on that?
Like there's just a stack of books in general of like how it got there.
Like was that something that was like weird to you?
Yeah, it was weird.
You noticed?
I noticed it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. In the first movie, they go after the librarian's ghost, and there's a line that Peter Venkman says. He says no one would stack books like this, and it was like such. I think Ray is looking like, oh my god, the ghost. She stacks the books so high. There are towers of them, and he goes, "That's right, Ray. No human could ever possibly stack books like this." And he just walks away.
Huh.
And it's a little fuck you kind of joke.
Yeah,
it's great. Like that's a little reference I caught immediately.
Okay, cool.
Beansy, what did you think of this movie?
It was good.
Fucking hate you so much.
No, it was good. I mean, I'm not
so good.
I'm not like, I don't like jerk off to Ghostbusters like you do, and I've seen the films, the first two. I didn't see the 2016 one.
I don't jerk
Shut
off
up.
to these movies.
I'm talking. Thank you.
Yeah, the one that showed me a clip of Cumbusters after the film.
That's a Brazzers thing? And all I did was show you the song. I don't know if the movie's out yet. I gotta check that out.
Anyway, I've seen the first two films, I think, like maybe once, so I know a basis of what happened, and I know it, with Harold Ramis, he passed away, so it was a good movie. I mean, it was like hella extra with like the underworld and the all of that stuff kind of like turned me off just a bit.
Like what? Like
when the mother and Paul Rudd got possessed, like that turned me off like just a little bit.
But that's what happened in the first one too, with Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver.
I know, but it's still just, I don't know, it's just something about it just wasn't, it didn't click right for me, but overall I think it was a good film. I don't like the girl who played the lead character.
You didn't like Phoebe?
Her name is McKenna Grace, and she plays, I don't know, she just bugs me.
I think she did a great job.
I mean, I didn't say she didn't do a poor, I just say she did a poor
I didn't like the brother.
job.
The brother was ugly looking.
I feel like he was unnecessary.
He looked like a pterodactyl.
Hold on. No. McKenna Grace. Oh yeah, that she is. Okay, then who is Carrie Coon? Oh, Carrie Coon played the mother.
I burped. I'm sorry.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Carrie Coon played the mother. Finn Wolfhard played the son, and then McKenna Grace played the daughter, and you had Paul Rudd.
She seemed so, or what's his name? The other one?
Finn Wolfhard?
Yeah, he just seems so out of place.
I'm
Like
just-
he just didn't need to be
Who
there.
we talking about? The
brother.
brother?
I'm just going to call him Stranger Things for the rest of this episode.
Well, yeah, he played in Stranger Things.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you 100%, and we're going to get to that too. But I just wanted your overall initial reaction to this movie and how you felt about it.
It was a good movie.
I fucking hate you so much.
It was a great movie, and it did a good job, and I feel like it related a lot to the original. It was great. It was one of those movies where it didn't go off track,
Right.
like you were saying about the female movie. Like it was just kind of like it didn't need to be there. But I felt like this one definitely played a good role in keeping it alive.
Yes. Like I said, and that's the crazy thing about soft reboots is this movie could have told its own story set in that world without having to bring in the old cast.
Right.
But it didn't, and it helped to bring in the old cast at the end. It didn't feel oversaturated with with trying to bring them in. Like I think
How much of a
did.
gap are we talking? This movie, the first movie came out in
84.
1984.
So the events of 1984 was the Manhattan thing with Gozer the Gozerian appearing on the roof of the ship.
Right. So I feel like it would have been like a good older brother, younger brother movie. Like, hey, look, he wasn't alive during this time, but this movie was the shit.
Yeah.
So, and the younger brother's like, okay, well, let's go watch it. And it kind of gave that insight into what the first movie was like, while also introducing like a new cast and a spin on it. And I felt like it did like that role really well. Like I said, it's like a movie people could relate to. I mean, well, it does relate to the first movie because it's Ghostbusters, but it didn't go off course. It stood on topic, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes right now is sitting. I hate Rotten Tomatoes, but I gotta agree with them. It's got a 96% score from the audience, so the audience is eating this the fuck up, and their tomato meter is at 62%, which I guess is a pretty good tomato. Pretty good tomato.
Good
I
tomato.
think, I mean,
And
overall,
it opened up to $44 million, and it just opened this weekend, right? Their budget. $60 million. Their budget was 75, so they've already almost made back all of their money.
Right.
And knowing Ghostbusters, this will probably be in theaters for another week. If Thanksgiving coming up, you're gonna have people with time off, so this is the perfect time to release a movie like this because next week the fucking movie theaters are gonna be packed.
and on top of that, I don't know what I was going to leave with that. Continue, sorry.
No. I was like, it's gonna be packed. And mind you, this was supposed to come out July
Of
2020.
Yeah.
So this is almost a year and a half later, after COVID, that we actually got this movie. So for some reason, I just think that the waiting to have this kind of helped it because there's been a lot of fans out there who really didn't like the 2016 movie for various reasons, and now you tease this movie, and then all of a sudden you had to wait for it even more, and now it's here.
And this
I
isn't
think
the end either. There's going to be more.
I think so too. I
Well-
think so, and we'll get to that.
yeah.
And I think it's the right amount of fan service and the right amount of originality that went into this movie. That's just my overall initial feel of it.
Yeah, no, I think it did good. One scene that got me like, okay, well, it's starting to come together was Egon's glasses. When she found his glasses,
Yeah.
at first, like, I didn't notice, like, she was, like, they were even in his house and she had any relation to him. Because I know they were saying, like, this is your grandfather's old farmhouse and he was just, like, a crazy kook. But
The dirt farmer.
the dirt farmer, right? But at that time, because this is the beginning of the movie, I didn't know that the guy was a Ghostbuster.
Right.
Like, I thought this was going to tie into, like, this old grandfather knew the Ghostbusters, and then they were going to find, like, the whole
Yeah.
history of the Ghostbusters and start digging into it. But it ended up turning out that her grandfather was a Ghostbuster, but when she found the glasses, which you probably knew right off bat, the type of glasses she was wearing kind of looked like Egon's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that. To me, it was just some kid with glasses.
Yeah.
Until she found the glasses and held it up to her glasses, which was like, okay, well, that makes sense because I know, well, just from pictures and stuff, I know that Egon wore glasses
Yeah.
that look similar to her. So I'm like, okay, well, the crazy old grandfather is Egon, and
Yeah.
it's her grandfather.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is the scene where this movie started to pick up pace.
Yeah, well, it actually started to reveal, like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, well, this girl is the granddaughter of Egon, and
Shit's
he's
happening.
the ghost that she was encountering at the time was Egon, and he was showing her, basically identifying himself to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
All right.
okay, well, this is my spot, and here goes all my things, and you could rummage through it.
Just as a side note, can we talk about how Dave Coulier and Arsenio Hall played in the TV series?
Yes, they did.
I had no idea until
They-
I'm reading their Wikipedia.
Yeah, Dave Coulier, correct me if I'm wrong. Dave Coulier played. I know. Lorenzo Music played Venkman.
And so did Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier also played Venkman. Okay,
So from season 3 to 7.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think at that point Lorenzo Music had passed away.
Rest in peace.
I think I could be wrong about that. And then Arsenio Hall played Winston.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to talk more about this movie. Hi, this is Anthony from Multimedia Mafia. If you love what we do and you want to know more about us, head on over to greenarrowmedia.org. On there, you're going to find links to both Multimedia Mafia show and our sister show, Is This Real?, which is all about conspiracies and aliens and all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. If you want to support us, head on over to our merch page where you can buy a hat or a mug. We have lots of different designs and cool colors. If you want to meet us, we got pictures up there. We have a little biography, and you can even stream the show right through the website. And hey, don't forget to check out our YouTube link where you can check out all the filming that we do right on our YouTube page. Check us out, greenarrowmedia.org. And we're back. We're reviewing the Ghostbusters Afterlife film, just dropped this weekend. And spoiler alert, I mean, I gave you one.
There will be spoilers.
Well, if you made it this far.
If you made it this far and you still don't know, this
We
is
haven't
spoilers.
talked well, we kind of talked about the ending, did we?
Kind of. in a
Yeah,
bit.
we kind of did, yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Spoilers, fuckers. All right. So, this movie opens up with the Egon's family. Well, sorry. Before that, it opens up with a man being chased through a cornfield. And
Right.
his elaborate plan
Yeah,
does
yeah.
not go as well. Does not happen.
Well, he kind of just like, well, yeah, he was gonna trap a ghost. I
He
assume.
was trying to
It
trap.
was one of the evil dogs.
Yes, the two dogs are called. They actually have names. The two dogs are called the Gatekeeper, and the other one is the Keymaster.
Okay.
However, they actually have even further names than that.
They have like mythology names or something.
Kind of. Vince Clortho.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Vince Clortho is the one dog. He's the Keymaster.
Keymaster.
And the original movie, well, you'll see. I'm not going to spoil that movie for you. But you have Vince Clortho, and then the other dog is Zool, the gatekeeper,
Zool. Okay.
right? So when you heard that voice, Zool, or when the mother was sitting there,
Yeah.
there is no mom, only Zool.
Only
She is Zool.
She's Zool.
Right, so she's Zool, Vince Clortho, and then they both serve the Sumant, whatever the fuck. They both serve.
Olivia Wilde for some reason.
Yeah. They both serve Gozer the Gozerian.
Okay, so explain this. He was being chased by,
One of them.
One
we
of
don't know.
them.
Yeah, we don't know which one.
well, he ended up, which I believe that was Egon.
Well, yeah, they were chasing Egon.
So they possessed Egon. So what ended up happening there?
No.
They just killed him.
No. Egon did exactly what they do later on in the film. They trapped one of the ghosts, one of the dogs, either Vince or Zool, and he brings him to the farmhouse. He was supposed to activate the farm trap to kidnap, to possess the other dog and...
But he didn't. His trap didn't work.
Exactly. But in the one trap that he hid in the floor was one of the two terror dogs.
Oh, right. The one that was chasing him.
Right.
He just hit it in the floor.
Correct.
And then I guess he pushed the button or whatever it is, and then he got them trapped.
Right. So he trapped one dog to lure the other dog. So if they're both trapped, they can't summon Gozer.
Right. True.
So he trapped one to get to the other one. He kept that one in the trap, locked it in the floor, but the other one killed him. The one that was chasing him got to Egon. That's what those arms that came out of the chair.
Okay.
Made it look like a heart attack.
Yeah, so he couldn't do anything.
Correct.
Well, he trapped Zool?
It could have been. It could have been either one. Honestly, the names are
Well,
really not.
if one of them's trapped, nothing could happen.
Correct. Even if one of
Okay.
them's trapped, nothing can happen.
Yeah,
You
so
need them
yeah,
both
that's
to
what ended up
unlock
happening. It started, let's just say Zool was chasing Egon. The first trap didn't work. He improvised. He sat in his chair. He put the trap underneath the chair, and then he trapped Zool.
Right. Well, Zool's already in the trap under the chair. But yeah, but either way, Egon dies.
He did.
And what I liked about it was you never got to see Egon in the opening part of the film. Like you saw someone running, but it was in dark, so it was a lot of shadows. You never saw the actor's face, and immediately I was like, "Oh, there's glasses. I know that's Egon." Like I knew it was Egon immediately.
Right.
But as I was watching, I'm like, for someone who doesn't know the Ghostbusters, like you, I'm like, they're gonna be sitting there going, "Who the fuck is this guy?" So completely in shadow, I enjoyed seeing that. Okay, I have no problem with the way this. I thought that was a good place to start the film.
Yeah, and then from there it jumps
to his daughter and his two grandchildren.
Oh, right, and then turns out she's fucking broke. She don't have no money.
Yep.
Then they kicked her out, but then they got news that the Egon died or her grandfather died, and then he left them the house.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, he left them everything, so she goes out and she's forced to live over there because she got no money.
Yeah, she got evicted. We established that Phoebe is she takes that off after her grandfather.
Well, she knows nothing about,
No,
but
she
she
doesn't.
does.
Yeah, it's like she's very smart. She likes to tinker with electronics. Finn Wolfhard is there because reasons. Like there was an older brother character.
He just has to be there, I guess.
Stranger Things.
He
is
really
there.
didn't play like a role.
No, he didn't.
He just drove the car.
Yeah, like they established him as a mechanic, as as a gearhead.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But if she's so smart, she could have been the gearhead too. Like you could have combined the elements of his character into Phoebe
if you really wanted to.
It could have still worked. But
then it'll kind of be boring. Like it's just her and her mom, and there's like
her and her mother, and then it would have been like meh.
Phoebe.
So she had a brother.
So she had a brother played by
unfortunately
Finn Wolfhard, who's like been in a lot of good shit. Like he's like one of those up and coming, everyone got eyes on him kind of actors.
But he was like next to useless.
Yeah, he really was.
I mean, he played a role because he found the car, the Ghostbuster car, and then he fixed it. He jumped it, even though Egon helped him with that too because he couldn't get it started.
Yep.
And then Egon ended up with his ghostly powers wrapping one of the loose ends of the terminal, I guess, for the battery.
Yeah.
And he fixed that and it started right up.
Yeah, he's like a typical 16-year-old kid, or he's 15-year-old. For some reason, I don't understand this. Like, obviously they finally get to the new Somerville. That's the town they're gonna live in. And he goes and he sees this cute chick working at the hamburger place, and immediately he's like, I have to work here, so I got to get to know her. So I'm okay so far.
He was horny.
Yeah, that's fine.
We have learned that we have learned that he's horny.
Egon fucks.
He be trying to get in them panties, man.
So he goes in and he lies about his age so he can get hired, and I'm like, what's the fucking point of this? Why do you have to lie about being like?
Because he's 15 and he can't get hired if he was 17, but at the same time,
what does it matter though overall?
you need like working papers and things like that if you really want to break it down, but that's just here there.
Right. I understand it's a little town in the middle of nowhere. They're probably not going to process the paperwork. It's like, yeah, you look like you're not inept. So
they paid him cash.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't pay Uncle Sam.
There's an element there of like you're establishing that he's younger than he is and he's lying, but ultimately that doesn't have nothing to do with the overall film. It doesn't pay out at the end. It's literally filler.
Yeah.
It's stupid. You could have made him 17 years old.
But you know what? It didn't take anything away from the movie though, because it was just kind of like fluent, you know.
It didn't take anything away from the movie. It just, to me, it added time. Like that to me is like a little sliver of fat that could have been trimmed.
Yeah, true.
So they get there. He decides to work for the burger shop. And
I mean, but he does discover like the mountain and everything, and
he goes to the mountain.
Yeah, to the mountain, and he discovers all that shit where like that hidden volcano was, where they were keeping the evil spirits away.
Yeah. I mean, the love interest, which I didn't care for her character either. She was boring as shit.
She played a weird role too.
You know, she has nothing to add to this film other than a body.
And we're talking about the girl that
Finn Wolfhard's attracted to.
Yeah. What was his name in the movie?
I don't know.
Trevor.
Trevor gets attracted to her, and as
but
she
she's
ended up
also
being the
useless.
sheriff's daughter too.
Yeah, she's the
That
sheriff's
first, can we talk about the sheriff for a second?
Yeah.
He was such a fucking douchebag.
He did.
like
And
literally.
he should have shot Phoebe.
What?
Yeah. She pointed a dangerous weapon at him.
No, I don't even care about that.
And he
Why
did
are
not
you-
pull out his service pistol and pop her in the
Why
head.
why was he such a fucking asshole? What
Well,
was the point?
Okay, first of all, his name is Bokeem Woodbine. And Isaiah, I think you're absolutely right. He should have shot that 12-year-old.
He should have shot her.
She's 12.
That was
You
a
don't
deadly
point
weapon.
a gun at a cop. He had the right to stand his ground. He would have put her in the fucking dirt, and the movie would have been the
credits right after
The
that.
movie would have been 40 minutes. She would have joined Egon in the afterlife.
Word. Yo, the movie could have ended
And
right
then-
there, but then her Karen mother steps in and is like, oh my God, so
And
sorry.
then Black Lives Matter would have been very confused because you have had a black cop shoot an armed 12-year-old white girl. Do they march and burn down the town? Which you only
No.
need like one case of like
Exactly.
Molotovs because the town's only like
The
6
town's-
buildings long.
That's it.
Shout out. They must have created that after McAdoo, PA,
Man.
because it was the same thing.
Hashtag Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty.
Oh my God.
Dear God, we're going off track.
Okay, so Finn, Stranger Things, falls in love. He falls for the daughter. They both have nothing to do with this film.
Yeah, it's the
ultimately.
sheriff's daughter, and
We find that out.
we
as
didn't
a-
see the sheriff after that, did we?
No.
After that scene, yeah. So he confiscates Phoebe's grandfather's.
Hold on, you're jumping
Blaster.
ahead. Yes, you're jumping ahead though. You're
But
jumping.
he confiscates
Yeah,
it.
later on.
That was the only role he played, is just confiscating
That's-
like the weapon and shit.
He's
Yes.
not jumping ahead. You're falling behind.
No. We were missing a big gap here.
What gap?
The gap is, Phoebe begins to go to school. Paul Rudd is her teacher.
Oh, right. We forgot fucking Paul Rudd.
And she meets a kid
Paul
named
Rudd
Podcast.
is this fucking scientist, but for some reason, he's also the summer school teacher.
And he's the worst teacher. He's just showing him movies from the 80s
He puts on Cujo.
and Child's Play
Oh my God.
for no reason.
He was their summer school teacher, but for some
Teacher.
reason, he was also a earthquake.
He's a seismologist.
There you go.
He studies earthquakes. This town, which doesn't have a fault line, has been getting these weird earthquakes. Fine. Okay. He didn't have to be a seismologist. He just could have been science teacher who understands this shit. But fine, let's make him a seismologist.
Word.
And then
Yeah.
she meets her friend Podcast.
Podcast reminds me so much of Joey.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. Joey
Because Joey is
our
a small Asian
host
boy.
on Is This Real podcast, and he's also the head of this
Company.
quote unquote business.
What is podcast? Like, did you guys care about podcast?
He's Asian.
No, I didn't mean like.
This is the second movie. Clifford was the same thing. Asians ended up being like the best friends of the main character, and we all know Asians are not that friendly.
Oh my God!
Not one of them has come up to me and be like, "You want to be my best friend?"
We're gonna have no downloads.
I
at
make no
all.
comment on this podcast.
We're not gonna have any downloads.
But
in
it's so
China
funny
or
because
Japan
Clifford was
or any other Asian country.
the Asian kid in Clifford was the best friend of the main character, and on this one, Phoebe's best friend, or the best friend in her town was the Asian kid.
Little podcast.
Podcast. That was his name. Podcast.
So she meets Podcast.
podcast has no parents. His parents were not involved.
And he also doesn't have a real name. He's casted or credited as podcast.
That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
That is it. He's just.
It's not like he's like John Podcast Cho. No, it's just like podcast.
That's his name, podcast.
Yeah, that's it. So podcast is a thing, and then so Phoebe makes a comment, and here's one of the problems I had. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's a script error. Phoebe makes a comment when he's like, "Do you believe in ghosts?" She's like, "No, I don't believe in ghosts. We're meat sacks." Right? She's very like, "I'm a scientist. I don't believe in the paranormal." And then all of a sudden, she's playing chess, and the chess pieces keep moving.
Yeah.
And then the lights are all flickering in her direction, and then like,
But
ghosts.
that was
Maybe
happening
she was
before
trying
she
to-
admitted she wasn't believing in ghosts.
Right, I know that, but I'm saying is ghost shit starts happening, and she's just like taking it in stride. Like you go back to the original Ghostbusters, they are like shitting their pants when they meet the librarian ghost, because not only like before they can even trap a ghost, they're like amazed that they even take pictures of it or interact with one. They believe in it, but no one else does. They think everyone else thinks the Ghostbusters are kooks, and they're like so pumped that they can finally prove that ghosts exist. Meanwhile, this little girl's like, I don't believe in them at all. And a ghost is literally leading the way to tell her what to do and where to go and how to discover shit.
Which scene was first? I kind of lost track.
Oh,
When they were talking about if she believed that ghosts were real, was she already playing with the chess pieces?
I think
Yes.
she had set them
That's
up.
kind of how she discovered, for the listeners, that's how she discovered that there was paranormal activity going on in her grandfather's house.
But she didn't like
with the chessboard.
But for her, it was like, I was like, oh yeah, this is normal. And then like she followed the lights, and then she finds the trap, and also Egon leads her to his secret bunker, where he keeps his child pornography.
She finds the trap towards the end though.
The one the floorboards, like towards the end of like.
The ghost trap.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
My point is, all of a sudden, spooky shit starts happening, and she's just like, "This is normal." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but she kind of played like that, like she didn't know what humor was, like she was very, very like dorky.
Well, that's Egon. Like that's like
Yeah.
she played like that. That's Egon.
Yeah, so she's just fulfilling her role, you know, like
Right, but like you
she's
would
really
think-
not to have like that emotional, like, oh my god, like
Right,
you
no,
know?
but you would think even Egon was like this. Like, there's parts in the original Ghostbusters like I'm scared beyond belief. Like I'm
Yeah.
scared beyond. One of his lines is I'm terrified beyond rational thought, and you can see it in his eyes that he's scared, but he's not like me.
Right.
She didn't even have that. She was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I must follow the lights now, and then she figured out the puzzle on the floor.
Yeah.
It was very kind of blasé type of shit.
You remember when there was a scene where her and Podcast, that's when she already had the blaster. Podcast was already down with her. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but they found Muncher,
Yes.
the ghost, and she was like, over emotion makes me calm or something like
yes,
that.
overstimulation calms me.
Overstimulation calms me.
Perfect Egon. Like, she did her homework. She knew the assignment. Like,
Yeah.
that is an Egon statement right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he was very deadpan. But, like, the whole thing of when the ghost stuff started happening, as a scientist, you should be, like, curious, and I want to disprove this. And she wasn't. She was just like, this is normal.
Yeah.
And, like, when she gets to Egon's little underground bunker, the lamp is kind of like the Pixar lamp is, like, following her.
Yeah.
And showing her. I'm like, why aren't you freaking out? The fucking lamp's moving on its own. You don't believe in ghosts.
It calms her, I guess.
She ain't afraid of no ghost.
She ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Yeah.
So I was like, so that's a little inconsistent thing. That
She
I was
was
like, meh.
cool as a cucumber.
Yes, but I was like,
Aw,
she shouldn't be.
that
she
was
should-
adorable.
She should be more. She should be more curious. She should be like testing the lights, taking them out, making sure nothing's in it. Like someone's playing a prank on her.
Yeah.
That type of shit.
She kind of.
Maybe she just don't care.
She wasn't really worried about it.
She was not worried, and I was like, that took me out of it a little for a moment. Like that character shouldn't be that way. But anyway,
Yeah, something was wrong in her head.
so she discovers the trap. Meanwhile, Trevor finds the Ecto-1 in the garage. And he starts repairing it. He goes to the top of the mountain with his girlfriend Lucky. Her name's Lucky, by the way.
Yeah, after he got the job at her job, and which is child labor because he's 15. But
Why was her name Lucky?
We don't know.
Yeah, I don't recall anybody calling her Lucky.
Yeah. We find that there's a giant mine shaft, and
they go up to the mine
there's
shaft.
nasty shit in there.
Yeah.
Podcast tells a little bit about like there's this mountain with this carving on the side.
Mountain.
Yeah.
It's all fucked up. And he gives a little legend type of shit. It's all about Ivo
But
Shandor.
when Paul Rudd got involved.
Yes.
When where Phoebe and Podcast found the equipment and they brought it back to summer school with them, and while everybody's watching Child Play, her and Podcast are just trying to open up the ghost trap in the middle of the classroom.
Yeah.
And then that's where Paul Rudd gets involved, and he introduces like the original Ghostbusters, like
to them.
Yeah, he
Yes.
shows them on the computer like YouTube videos of 1984 Ghostbusters, what happened in Manhattan.
Yep.
And Paul Rudd basically says like, well, when he sees the equipment, he's like, oh, that's a cool replica. They're like, replica of what? And
Yeah.
he's like, it's a ghost trap. And then that's when he sees the little ghostly fog come out of it. He's like, oh shit, that's a real ghost trap. And then that's the next scene. Well, I guess the next scene is they try to open it up.
They do. And
they do.
They get the one terror dog is free. He goes back to the mountain.
And then he goes to the mountain, and that's where they kind of figure like, we should follow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a white person thought.
It is definitely a white person.
The person who played Muncher was Josh Gad.
Wow, they didn't have to put him in CGI or anything.
That's fucked up.
Damn. Somebody voiced him?
So Phoebe is now fucking with. Now she's found all the ghost traps. She's found the Echo One's been found. She's tinkering with the proton pack. She's like, and Egon's showing her all of this. It's not like she discovered it on her own, which to me takes away from it. I would have liked it more if Egon's ghost wasn't.
Well,
there.
Egon didn't show her like to open it and shit like that.
Well, yeah, when she was in the thing he did when she was in the bunker, the light was like opened, it like shining, and she opened it. And she's like, it's missing capacitors, and the drawer opened. And
well, they was fixing the
proton pack.
Yeah, the blaster shit.
Right. What I'm saying is, I wish Egon had too much of a role as a ghost. Like, let her discover this shit on her own and do certain things.
But do you think like just they fucked it up?
No.
Because they opened up the ghost trap.
No, they did fuck it up. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like this whole movie was.
Yeah.
I don't think she should have just mind her business. Like I
don't think Egon's plan was to get her to open up the trap again.
No,
it was more like to use it as bait.
I guess.
So that like,
I kind of forgot how she found it.
Egon let her out through all the lights. And she sat down in the chair.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
he led her to the
That's
ghost
what I'm
trap.
saying. If she didn't do, if he had done a little, I don't know, they had played it where she discovered it naturally, kind of shit.
Yeah, and then like just blamed it on her for her like.
Yeah, this
just
is
being
my
a kid.
fault because I didn't know.
And now she needs to fix it, and Egon kind of helps her do it.
Yeah, in a way. But
instead, Egon leads her to the ghost trap.
Correct.
And then she takes it, and what do you think she's gonna do with it?
Right, like
she let the Zool go.
Right, like I think Egon,
Zool or somebody.
Yeah, one of the two is either Zool or Ivo Shandor. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come back and keep loving and shitting on this movie. Hey, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. If you need a professional photographer, then we here at Green Arrow Media recommend Captured Moments by Danielle. Professional headshots, school pictures, family, holiday vacations, you name it, she can shoot it. She even does engagement photos as well as boudoir shots for both women and couples. So if you're located in New Jersey or Pennsylvania and you're looking for a professional photographer, remember to contact Captured Moments by Danielle at www.capturedmomentsbydanielle.com. And we're back. We're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife on the Don to Desk. Anthony, you're listening to Multimedia Mafia. And spoiler alert, I'm just going to keep saying spoilers every time we come back because fuck it. So we left. Phoebe is now checking out the Ghostbusters gear. And
well, she's already shit the bed at this point.
Yeah. The ghosts are out, and the temple is starting to get active inside the mountain, and shit is happening. Oh, so she gets in the Ecto-1. They find the Muncher, which is Josh Gad.
That's sexual.
Oh my god.
Hey.
They find Muncher. They go on a car chase. Egon helped Finn Wolfhard fix the Ecto-1. So now
Yeah.
he's driving it. She's shooting at the fucking muncher.
Yeah. Well,
They
she
all
tests everything on the muncher. They
Right.
figure out how to use their shit.
and they all get arrested.
They do.
And
that's when we're introduced
catch
to the evil
Muncher.
cop.
and Bokeem Woodbine should
they
have
get
shot
arrested.
her when she pulled the gat on him.
Oh, right, yeah. They got arrested. The sheriff took them in, and they were in the cell. When Mommy came and picked them up, Phoebe was all like, yeah, I need to take my gat. And he was like, no, we're confiscating that shit. And then she proceeds to take the proton blaster, whatever the fuck it is, and point it at him, ready to blow his fucking head off. Instead, he does nothing, and the mom's like, excuse me, she's a child. And then the sheriff's like, sure, yeah, I understand. What the fuck?
In the real world,
Real world, be like,
she
whoa!
she would have been a past tense.
She got a deadly weapon. Shoot her ass.
She would have been a hashtag.
But then again, if Phoebe was black or Latino, okay.
Can you stop trying to make this into a fucking race thing?
I'm just playing.
So they get arrested, and while she's arrested, she calls the original Ghostbuster, one of the original Ray Stantz, and he gives her enough backstory as to why, like, Egon left the Ghostbusters
something
and they had a falling out.
about that scene too, because she was telling him, like, she had one phone call. She was like, "Yeah, like, hear me out.
Yep.
I'm the daughter of Egon, whatever it is." Well, at first, she was like, "Oh, what do you know about Spangler?" Like, Egon Spangler. And then he was just like, "Yeah, he could burn in hell." Then I was like, "Whoa, that caught me off guard because I thought they were boys. Like, what the fuck happened here?"
Caught me off guard too.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, well, he could burn in hell." I'm like, "Oh shit!"
And then she's like, "Yeah, he's dead." And he was like, "Oh shit."
He's like, "Damn. My bad."
And then he goes to say that Egon took everything. He took the Ecto-1. He took all the proton packs.
Yeah.
He cleaned them out, and that's why
they
don't
weren't
like
getting any business. Well, that's kind of how the decline happened. That
Right.
they catch all the ghosts, and there's no more ghosties,
Right.
and that's about it. And Egon kind of like packs up all the shit and kind of disappears, and leaves them to, go on by themselves.
And it does make sense for Egon. He was like, no, Gozer's coming back. And the rest of the Ghostbusters was like, you're fucking crazy. We already defeated her. We already defeated Gozer the Gozer. There's no reason for Gozer to come back. You're going nuts. But he does. I remember him saying that Egon cleaned us out, took everything. So at the end of the movie, when all three Ghostbusters show up wearing their proton packs, my first thought was, where the fuck did they get those?
Exactly, yeah.
I was like, whoa, there's a script error here. They should have omitted that line. So, like, Egon could have taken everything and all he left us was with our proton packs. That would have made sense. But, like, he cleaned them the fuck out.
Yeah, we only had our uniforms and shit. Which kind of, like, that's really all you need. I mean, they had, like, the gadgets and everything. I'm pretty sure Egon took those. But if each one of the members still had their pack, their suit, then they could have just continued without him. But, he made it seem like that he took everything.
Right. And also the Ghostbusters business dried up, and they said he even said that they turned it into the firehouse was turned into a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Which also fucks up the post-credit scene because
when he goes back to the firehouse and it's
it's
not a
still a fire.
Starbucks.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That can't be the firehouse. It said it was. So there's little errors, like script
that
errors
came back and
that
bit
I'm
them
like,
in the ass.
a little ones, not things that are going to shatter the overall tone of the movie, but just little things. I'm like, damn it.
Or he could have said, well, okay, well, I think they turned it into a Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that would have been like, okay, well, he's old. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, maybe.
Yeah, that would have been like, okay, he's not with it or something, or he doesn't know for sure. So,
You dirty
doesn't matter.
bitch. This guy just farted.
Doesn't matter. She hangs up on him, and she ends the call with, he was my grandfather.
The sheriff comes in and punches the phone and says, yeah, you're up. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then they get out of jail.
Yeah.
Mommy comes, picks him up. She almost gets shot. And then the next scene is all of Zool and Vince go out, and they start to... they go to the mine. And they find the trap.
Right.
They find that there's a pit of dead souls, and there's a body in a coffin, which is Ivo Shandor.
that happens to be J.K. Simmons for whatever reason.
reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, obviously Ivo Shandor's going to have a bigger role later on in this movie. There's his body. Okay, cool. And they find out that Egon actually set a trap to keep the demons at bay to not bring Gozer back. So he was right.
Which I would have thought, there goes everybody's blaster.
Yeah.
It's set up as a trap.
Exactly.
He rigged them all as a trap.
Exactly.
But then again, when the gang came back at the end to kind of help them out, they all had their own blaster.
And yeah, it's not. I don't think they made a pit stop at the mountain.
Which I don't think they know anything about that.
Exactly. So little inconsistencies, but regardless. So
and even then, I think. Oh well, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So they find out that the temple exists. They find out that Egon was right. Gozer's coming back. They figure out the numbers on the wall.
Yeah, and you remember when Paul Rudd towards the beginning of the movie when they were back in summer school, where Phoebe discovers that Paul Rudd is a
seismologist,
earthquake doctor, whatever his name is, and he was like, "Well, the what do you call those? The ratings of the earthquakes?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was like they're backwards. Instead, there's a big wave and then a smaller wave, like an explosion.
Right, which
they find out what the earthquakes was because every time the ghosts try to come out of the pyramid or the volcano, the blasters will shoot and keep them down, and then they will eventually go back down, and that's what caused the earthquakes.
Right, exactly.
So everybody thought it was just like, okay, well, this town got really weird earthquakes, and it happens every so often, which was actually the ghost trying to breach through.
Yes.
But instead, the trap that Egon rigged was keeping them at bay, and that was the whole origin of so-called earthquakes.
And now we've come to my opinion, the best sequence in the movie. Paul Rudd walking into a Walmart, which right off the bat, I'm like, oh, God. Like,
which reminds me, there is no shameful plugs or shameful advertising in this movie.
There's no, that's not true.
No, Walmart was there, but Walmart really wasn't like, it wasn't, they made a good scene out of it.
They could, yes. I mean, okay, it's not that shameful. I'll say it like that.
That's what, it is a plug.
Yes.
Yes, they did advertise Walmart.
Like you can buy the toys exclusively through Walmart.com.
Yeah, but like, it did. There was a couple. It was Walmart, and then when Paul Rudd went up to the freezer, he grabbed the Baskin Robbins ice cream.
Yeah.
They were all lined up nice and perfectly for some reason.
Everything was nice.
You go to a Walmart and the fucking the ice cream is all over the freezer. It's just smeared on the glass.
It looks like after the riot.
Right. So he grabs the ice cream, and those are the only two I could think of.
It wasn't overall. It could have been any superstore. They could have doctored it any way they wanted it, but it was specifically Walmart.
But they made a good scene out of it.
They did.
The marshmallows start coming out of the bag.
I lost my shit with the mini Stay Puft marshmallows.
That was funny.
They're all murdering each other.
Teresa had a good laugh of
Teresa, you were giggling the shit out of yourself.
That shit was funny.
They were toasting each other. They were.
That was my favorite.
It was
part.
cannibalism. they started turning on the grills and poking each other,
walking across the grill, and they started like sticking to the grills. Shit was so funny.
The one melted, and they all have a smile on their face.
Did you see the
time.
one where one was rolling him on a graham cracker, and the other one put like a chocolate bar on him, and they started toasting the chocolate bar?
The one that got me, and they teased it so well, was it was in a blender, and they kept hitting it. And every time they hit it was a different setting until they finally just splat.
Yeah, and he was all over the blender.
Oh, my God.
It was really good.
And see, that was a good scene.
That was a great scene.
It would have made it a shameful plug, like, if he went into the Walmart, saw something was wrong, ran out of the Walmart, and then everything went down, like, out in the street or something like that.
Yeah.
Then Walmart played no role. It was just a
other
shameful
than
plug.
just a convenience store.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's the scene where Paul Rudd encounters the gatekeeper or whatever.
One of them.
Or,
yeah. But that was the scene that he got possessed by one of the doggies.
Yes, he does. And once that happens, he runs out, and there you go. He gets not eaten, he gets possessed.
Yeah, he gets possessed, and then from there, The mother, yeah.
The
The
mother-
mother ends up getting possessed.
Yep. And
But which one came first? They found the mother possessed, and then Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd got possessed first.
Paul
right?
Rudd got possessed first.
Yeah,
Then the mother
and
got
then the
possessed.
mother
and
got
they found
possessed.
her. And I love how she made that dress transition because it's the same dress Dana Barrett wears in the original.
Oh yeah,
Ghostbusters.
you see that? I would have never known.
I was like, that's cool. And then they fucked
Yeah,
on a mountain.
on a mountain, and he had like a little flower, and they were talking in like their demonic voices.
See, that's another thing. In the original Ghostbusters, they don't have demonic voices when they
No?
spoke. There's a whole scene where Vince Clortho, who was played by Rick Moranis, is speaking to the Ghostbusters, and they has that. And I'm sure you saw it in this movie. They brought it back. It's the colander, the spaghetti strainer with a bunch of wires sticking out.
Yes.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, Rick Moranis is wearing that in that scene, and he's talking to the Ghostbusters, but he's talking in a normal voice. His eyes don't glow.
Okay.
And Dana Barrett also speaks, and there's only a little like moment where she has a demon voice, but other than that, it's just Sigourney Weaver's voice.
Okay.
And again, her eyes don't glow. So there was a directorial change here where they kept the eyes glowing the full time, and it was only demon voices.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's not how the original worked, but whatever.
No, but
Again, it doesn't take away from the movie, but just okay.
yeah.
So they
That
fucked
happened.
on a mountain.
Yeah, and that kind of like completes the cycle of. Well, no, Paul Rudd goes as the demon thing, and he destroys the trap
Right.
that was keeping all the ghosts and everything at
And
bay.
now hell can break loose.
Yeah, so everything broke loose when he broke the trap.
Yep. And then basically the rest of the movie is the kids, Phoebe, her brother, the love interest, and podcast do Egon's plan exactly. And this is where I think if you cut the fat of some of the love interest and Stranger Things stuff, you could have added more ghost shit to the town. Because that's one of the biggest highlights of the original
Well,
movie.
yeah, they did. When chaos broke loose and Paul Rudd, he broke the trap, which I keep calling him Paul Rudd because I don't know his name in the.
Gary
I
Gottenheimer or something like that.
yeah, son Gary. Yeah, it definitely was Gary. But yeah, when he broke the trap, all the ghosts, they showed the scene where all the different types of ghosts broke loose in the town in Somerville.
I wanted more of that.
Yeah, that would have been dope. Like them going around trying to rally up all the ghosts. Like a dope scene of that would have been nice.
Yes. But they didn't do that. Instead,
No, it just kind of like went to. They started distracting. What was her name? The goddess, the evil bitch.
Gozer.
Yeah,
Olivia Wilde.
Gozer was sitting on her throne, and they went to just go, go fuck with her.
Yeah, the Gozer all of a sudden, like, they didn't really care. Then it was just Gozer doing Gozer things. That's all they, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't really give a shit about, they took away from I want to see more of, like, the ghosts interacting with the townspeople of Somerville.
Yeah.
And then go back to the main story. But that's exactly what happens in essence because they cut back to the kids and everything. The story keeps going, and essentially they do exactly what Egon's plan was: lure one away, bring Gozer there to try to trap Gozer using the farm as a trap. But then she never knew that the trap was fucked up and broken.
Yeah.
Which is what happened the first time around. That's how Egon died.
Yeah, in the very beginning of the movie,
He tries to trap.
Egon tried to use the trap, but the trap didn't work.
Yep. So, adios, Egon.
Yeah, so when I guess when Phoebe and her gang finally got to their first encounter with Gorza? Gyoza?
Yes.
What do you
It's not gyoza.
Who is it?
Gozer.
Gozer?
Yes.
When they first encountered Gozer, she starts throwing her corny jokes at her.
Yep.
The fish without the eye joke, which is fish, and then they end up ghost trapping one of the dogs,
Yes.
which was Zool or whoever the other one was, and trapped one of them. And then she became like this, kind of like just a nervous system, like without her skin. I guess like one part of her disappeared.
Yes.
And then they lead her back to the farm, which was Egon's old place, and they try to use Egon's trap to trap her into, and trap her back into the traps, and that'll be it. But the main trap that Egon tried to use at the beginning of the movie didn't work, and to their surprise, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So they go from there, and I forget what they try to do after that.
Well, at that point, that's when the original team
they try to
shows
blast
up.
her.
Yeah, they try to blast her. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
That's when the original team shows up, and there's some very cool, funny banter with Venkman and Stans and Zeddemore. They played it really well. When she asks, "Are you a god?" And everyone kind of looked, and I think Venkman said, not again, Ray," because in the original movie she goes, "Are you a god?" And he goes, "No." She goes, "Then die." And then she goes, "When someone asks if you're a god, you say yes." So there's that nice little callback there. He shoots a capacitor,
Right.
and then they all take turns shooting their blasters at Zool.
Right.
That's going to make a great scene in the porno version.
Hey, yo.
And then Phoebe is shooting her blaster, and then Egon, as a ghost, shows up. They CGI'd Harold Ramis into the movie, and I felt awesome about it and icky at the same time.
For me, it made me a little emotional because I knew that was Egon, that was her grandfather. He's not there.
Right.
And he helped, but it kind of reminded me of you ever watched the scene for Dragon Ball Z?
Yes!
Right?
The end of the Cell games.
Yeah, where Gohan is shooting his Kamehameha, and then Goku appears, and then helps him. That kind of gave me that feel.
Yes. And the thing about it is Harold Ramis in this movie looked better than what Harold Ramis did in real life when he died.
What a shame.
It really is. It's like, look what would have been if he had just exercised.
Right.
You know, and a part of me, like I said, I feel good about it and bad, because it's a moment for the Ghostbusters to see the four of them reunited. That really did put a lump in my throat for a second, because it was really nice to see that, because it's
I felt like
an image we're never really going to have.
It belonged there though, because like Egon was playing a big role as a ghost in the movie.
Yes,
and if he didn't make an appearance, then
they didn't set it up. I mean, they did a great job setting it up. And
but I guess
it wouldn't have paid off the same way if they just didn't have him in there.
Yeah, if they didn't have it, I think a lot of people would have been like, well, damn. Like,
they did the right thing,
the
though.
whole gang is there, but not Egon.
They did the right thing, though, by not having him speak as a ghost.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to, like, take some weird audio from an obscured movie or try to match it or some way. But just, I don't know. We're going to get to that point where CGI is so good we don't even need actors anymore. Because, like, if you could literally do Godfather, 3 now and just digitize the whole fucking thing, and it could look just as good. Bring back Marlon Brando and just get really good voice impersonators, and you can have a movie and just say, fuck it, we don't need actors anymore. That's not good. I don't like that.
I'm pretty sure it took more work for him, for the editors and everything, to actually make him like a ghostly character instead of just like making him like a real life, like in-person CGI type person.
Yeah, you couldn't replace Harold Ramis with a different actor to be Egon like they did in Dr. Sleep. They replaced Jack, who was played by Jack Nicholson. They replaced him with an actor who looked sort of like Jack Nicholson. They didn't CGI the face. They just put a new actor in there and said, this is the same character. And that's fine. They do that all the time in movies. Egon's one of those I don't think you could have. And they did... Like I said, I'm on the fence with it. It was great. It was a good moment to see the Ghostbusters.
I think it was
reunited,
a great
but
scene.
At the same time,
I felt like it belonged there.
Sure. It was, like I said, it was 50-50 for me.
Yeah, so the movie ends with the gang is there. Egon helps Phoebe blast, I keep forgetting her name, Goozer?
Yeah, Gozer. Goober.
Goober.
Goober the Gorbarian.
The goofy bitch. They blast
Goober.
her. Yeah. And the brother shoots the capacitor. The mother realizes what's going on after I guess she's just laying on the ground. She gets up, she presses to activate the trap, and it traps a Goober in the fucking trap.
That's right. So they finally get rid of Gozer the Gozerian.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, they bring back, for J.K. Simmons plays Ivo Shandor, and I was like, oh, they're going to use him in the movie. He literally walked up to Gozer, had one line and she ripped him in fucking half.
Yeah, she grabbed his skull and just splitted him.
Which I was like, that's really graphic for a children's movie.
Splitted his wig.
Which I have something to say.
Go ahead. You haven't said anything else, so go right ahead.
I have something to say. Stop bringing children under 10 to the fucking movie theater.
Yo, how the baby that was sitting next to Teresa, how
made
the fuck?
less noise than the children that knew what was right
yes,
and wrong.
Yes, but during the trailer, that baby was all types of shit. And how the fuck did they get that baby to shut the fuck up during the movie?
That's
I don't know.
That's
that
Hollywood
baby,
magic.
That baby, I wasn't concerned with her because once the movie started, I guess they put something in her mouth, maybe a tit. I don't know. She was down for the count.
Yeah,
but
baby
the
that was
fucking
sitting
kids
next to
behind
Teresa.
me.
Yeah.
The fucking kids behind me. Oh my God, is it gonna start already? Oh my God.
Oh my God, the original. You remember him?
Like,
shut up.
Like, shut the fuck up. And then you have the mother or the whoever the fuck. Yeah, I see them. That's great. Tell them to shut up. They're in a movie theater full of people.
At one point, she was just like, shh, like a real, like a nasty shh. And then I kind of didn't hear him for a little bit, but of course, kids are kids, and they
clap for literally everything.
I want to be like, the fuck up. Just like real quick.
Why do you need to clap?
That's
the baby.
There was way too many white people clapping.
The family with the baby that was sitting next to Teresa. I didn't hear the baby since the movie started.
Yeah, they shut that kid down.
They must have drugged that baby.
No,
like
you're
they
right.
Slipped her a Benadryl or something. Like, yo, put that baby to sleep.
Like, those fucking kids behind it clapping. Like, we weren't on a plane that landed. You didn't need to clap. Like, I don't understand why.
So they end the movie. It says For Harold. The movie shows you New York, and you see the Ghostbusters on the Brooklyn Bridge. You see the Ecto-1, and the movie ends. We have a mid-credit scene harkens back to the opening of the first Ghostbusters movie with Peter Venkman doing the experiment with the electricity. And we have our Sigourney Weaver not flashback. We have our Sigourney Weaver cameo, which was nice. She is gorgeous. Like, Bill Murray did not age well. Dan Aykroyd's fat. Ernie Hudson's fine looking.
Ernie Hudson didn't change since Oz. Like, he's still Glenn.
And then Sigourney Weaver's just gorgeous. So
I was just waiting for him to say, "Yeah, put him in the hole." And I was like, "Damn."
So that was a nice, cute little scene. And then we have a post-credit scene where we have Annie Potts talking to Ernie Hudson, and he's a millionaire. And he's talking about how
we don't know if he's a millionaire.
No,
he looks like a millionaire.
He said he built this company from the ground up and it's global.
Yeah,
so he's like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And they allude to him thinking that we could do something with the Ghostbusters. And then he's in the old firehouse.
Ties into, the old firehouse, which loops back into the conversation that Phoebe had.
Right.
And he was saying, that it's a Starbucks, but that credit scene it's not a Starbucks. It's still the old firehouse. He brings in the Ecto-1, and he
just kind of rubs it a little bit.
Yeah, which is the beginning of... Like, he's going to try to bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, they're setting the seeds for something. They want to keep... I think the Ghostbusters is too much of a pop culture phenomenon.
Well.
Yeah, to just, say this movie was it. This was the official Ghostbusters 3.
Well.
And we're done. There's going to be more.
There's going to be more, but... on their Wikipedia page, now Wikipedia is not always factual, but on the Wikipedia page it says that Dan Aykroyd has been in pre-production for a film or a TV series or a TV film that is set in the early 60s or whatever when the Ghostbusters formed, and it's about New Jersey and some shit.
Just tell Dan to sit down and say thank you. Okay, we gotta end this podcast soon, but Dan Aykroyd has been fucking with Ghostbusters 3 since 1988, when Ghostbusters 2 came out. Okay, and it's been through production hell over and over again. At one point, it was going to be called Manhattan, where the Ghostbusters go into hell, but it's Manhattan. He's been fucking around for 30 years trying to get a third one off the ground. And it wasn't until Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig fucked up the Ghostbusters did someone sit there and go, okay, fuck this, we're going to do it right now. And that was Jason Reitman, his father, and Sony Pictures, which Sony's not, they're a hit or miss company for me. I love some things and I hate some things. This was a hit for me. So I think We don't know what's going to happen. Nothing's been greenlit as of right now for a sequel to this. But obviously, the seeds are there that we could sit there and go, okay, if something does happen, it makes sense. And I think that's all I have to say about that aspect. So if you love the Ghostbusters, go check out Ghostbusters Afterlife. For me, I'm going to say it's a hit, despite some fat that needs to be cut and some script or continuity errors. They're not the worst things in the world. I think this movie really captures the tone of the original one. It's funny. It's poignant. It's great. It was nice to see Ghostbusters. And I can honestly be like, I want to see more.
Well, soon I'm going to see the first one and see how it matches up with this one, or how the first one matches up with...
The style, the proton packs, all of that just kind of... It felt right. The effects. Like, all the cloud shit, where all like the ghost ectoplasm over the volcano, or the mountain, I was like, that looks just like what they did in '88.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously the effects are better, but like the style of it, it doesn't look drastically different. They kept a lot of things simple and home, and that appealed to me. What was your overall take, Izzy?
It was great. I enjoyed.
And you're gonna go check out Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna go check them out.
1's up there as one of the greats of all time. 2, not so much. It's a good movie, but it's not the.
Yeah. If one comes out, if I really like part 1, the original, then I might watch part 2. But
yeah, I would say 1 is a movie where you could watch over and over again, catch new things, and enjoy it differently each time. You watch the second one once, and you're like, I get it.
Okay.
It's not the best movie. It's not the worst movie. It's just not. It's not as good as the original.
Yeah, I'll check them out.
Beansy, what'd you think?
I liked it. It was a good movie. I have nothing else to say. It was good.
Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this podcast up, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this review, we're going to do some more stuff soon, more reviews about other movies that are coming out. Next weekend is Thanksgiving weekend, so we might or may not be an episode next weekend just because of holiday festivities. We'll let you know. Check out our YouTube page. You can find us at Green Arrow Media. Just Google that in, and then go to the second hit, because we're the second hit on that search. Go to greenarrowmedia.org, where you can see pictures of us. You can hear our podcast. Go check out Is This Real, our sister podcast. They just dropped an episode about 15 minutes ago, I think, about JFK, which, oh my God, is a huge episode.
Wait, I think they already did JFK.
They've done JFK like 17 times now.
Go check out Is This Real?
Well, you can find out by checking them out.
And if you want to write us and figure out if I math correctly from our last episode, and you can give me the real number on how big Clifford's dick is, I want to hear that too.
Well, nobody answered me about whole grain mustard, so I'm not too sure if they're going to answer you about Clifford's dick.
No, well, we need answers for Clifford's dick.
Yeah, seriously.
We're trying to put something together here.
Izzy, this has been fun. I can't wait for you to bust your cherry further with this Ghostbusters shit. I want to hear what your thoughts.
Fuck you.
I definitely want to hear your thoughts about the other Ghostbusters.
But first, I'm going to check out Cumbusters.
Yes, the Brazers version. I can't wait. I'm buying the DVD. I hope there's like a 3D thing.
Okay, can we?
Like that's not.
This is where we stop.
That's not ectoplasm.
It comes with a kit, so you can hook up a cum blaster to your TV.
Teresa, overall thoughts about Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I enjoyed it very much.
Okay. We'll see you all next time right here on Multimedia Mafia.